The Browns' decision to put Dillon Gabriel into Sunday's blowout loss to the Lions felt less like a dramatic turning point and more like an inevitability finally arriving. Joe Flacco's day was ugly. 2 interceptions, a handful of forced throws, and an offense that never got untracked, and Kevin Stefanski had little choice but to flip the switch late in garbage time. What that substitution means, though, deserves closer scrutiny. It's not just about one play or one drive. It's about what Cleveland believes it can be offensively this season, how the roster was built, and what the team's timeline looks like for a real quarterback change. What actually happened on the field? Flacco's stat line: 16 of 34 for 184 yards, 2 picks, 1 fumble, tells a simple story. Cleveland's offense couldn't move the ball consistently and turned it over in crucial moments. The veteran didn't have much protection or playmakers getting open, but the choices and execution were poor enough that the coaching staff couldn't ignore them. Dillon Gabriel's appearance was brief. 1 pass attempt incomplete. Practically speaking, it was a token look, not a full audition. But the image of the rookie taking a snap in a lopsided game does matter. It signals that the Browns are at least willing to put the younger guys on tape under real game conditions. Why the timing matters. Plenty of teams give their rookies limited reps in garbage time to evaluate comfort in the huddle and processing under pressure. The Browns, though, are operating under a narrow window. Their defense remains a strength, but the offense, especially the passing game, is putting the team in holes. Flacco was brought in for steadiness and to buy time for the offense to gel. Yet the production hasn't matched the expectation. The Browns could continue to ride Flacco if they believe schematic fixes will unlock results quickly, or they could pivot toward a quicker youth movement if the season starts to slip. Gabriel getting a late look shows the staff is at least gathering information for that decision. What Dillon Gabriel offers: Gabriel was a praised dual threat from Oregon with a strong college resume. Accuracy, creativity on designed runs and RPOs, and a comfort throwing on the move. He's not a finished product. His game needs polish at the NFL pace, and his arm and pocket presence aren't elite. But he has traits coaches covet: decisiveness, mobility, and the ability to create on extended plays. In limited live reps so far, he's shown comfort operating pre-snap and making throws on rhythm, but a single 2-minute drive or a third-quarter series won't reveal consistency. The Browns need to see a steady progression in practice and controlled game moments before making him a full-time starter. Why the Browns can't rush and why they can't wait too long. This is the delicate balance any team with a veteran bridge QB faces. On one side, patience. Flacco gives the Browns experience, a known quantity in the locker room, and a guy who can manage the game plan while younger options develop. On the other side, results. Cleveland's offense is 30th in scoring and lacks reliable playmakers in the passing game outside key pieces. If Flacco's play becomes a drag on a defense that can only carry the team so far, delaying a transition could cost wins and momentum. The optimal approach is a middle ground. Continue to emphasize game plans that fit the current roster. Quick game, play action where the run sets it up, and schematic simplification to reduce turnover opportunities, while planting seeds for Gabriel with clearly defined lower-risk packages. 2-minute drives, scripted red zone possessions, and specially designed RPO sprint-out series are ways to evaluate him meaningfully without handing him the entire offense before he's ready. Coaching responsibility and messaging: Stefanski's comments, non-committal but measured, are typical and understandable. Publicly, coaches often give a veteran the benefit of the doubt while internally ramping up the rookie's involvement. But clarity helps. The organization should be transparent with Gabriel about what he needs to earn the job and honest with the fan base about how they will be evaluated. Internally, the coaching staff must provide Gabriel with reps in practice that replicate game speed and look, and must be willing to give him meaningful in-game opportunities sooner rather than later if Flacco's struggles persist. What the roster changes would mean: Neckminer. If the Browns pivot to Gabriel for more meaningful minutes, the offense will need to adapt. Gabriel's strengths suggest more rollouts, quicker reads, and a willingness to design plays that create space for his legs. The receiver room would need to sustain him with clean separation and reliable hands on high-percentage targets. Running back play and protection would also have to be simplified to keep the offense from becoming one-dimensional. Conversely, if Gabriel struggles in real reps, Cleveland will have to consider whether to shop for immediate upgrade options or prioritize developing a long-term starter next offseason. Long-term implications. This season is a crossroads. If the Browns find a way to stabilize the offense, defensively driven wins, and timely Flacco play, they can remain competitive and buy more time to develop Gabriel. If not, the ripple effects are significant. Roster construction, draft priorities, and the coaching staff's job security could all come under the microscope. The team's front office also faces a decision tree: invest in offensive weapons and protection now, or pivot to finding a long-term quarterback solution via draft or trade. Bottom line, Dillon Gabriel's late-game appearance is more symbolic than revolutionary in and of itself, but symbols matter in the NFL. That single snap was a low-risk experiment that the Browns needed to run. What happens next depends less on one token moment and more on a pattern. Will the Browns tweak the scheme around Flacco and find modest improvements, or will they accelerate Gabriel's development plan and give him real opportunities to prove he belongs? For Cleveland, the smart path is both surgical and patient. Clean up the offense to limit self-inflicted wounds now, while producing structured, meaningful opportunities for Gabriel that allow the staff to evaluate whether he can be the future without sacrificing the present. Things got noticeably worse for the Cleveland Browns in Week 4, and by the fourth quarter, the team made a change under center. After Joe Flacco's rough afternoon culminated in 2 interceptions and uninspiring offensive bursts, rookie Dillon Gabriel was inserted late in the 34-10 loss to the Detroit Lions. Flacco's day was ugly from start to finish. The veteran finished with 184 passing yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks, one of which was a poorly placed floater that ended up in a Lions defender's hands well ahead of the intended target. Across the season through 4 games, Flacco has thrown for 631 yards with a 63.1% completion rate, 2 touchdown passes, and 4 interceptions. That line, paired with the Browns' stagnant scoring overall, left coach Kevin Stefanski with little choice but to turn to the future. Gabriel's appearance was brief and came with the game already decisively tilted. The rookie attempted a single pass, an effort intended for Isaiah Bond, that fell incomplete after the Browns ran 2 short rushing plays for 3 yards. Cleveland then punted, and the game closed out, leaving Gabriel with limited opportunity to make much of an impression on the stat sheet in his second career regular season appearance. This isn't Gabriel's first taste of NFL action. He saw late-game snaps in Week 3 against Baltimore, entering the contest for Cleveland's final possession and completing 3 of 3 passes for 19 yards and a touchdown. That tidy finish suggested potential. Sunday's hurried relief outing did little to expand it, though it did underline that he remains in the mix as a possible mid-season answer should the Browns decide to make a change. When asked afterward whether the switch signaled a permanent move, Stefanski hedged. Again, it's never just one person, he said, refusing to pin down a clear timeline for any quarterback transition and signaling that decisions will be made after fuller evaluation. The message was familiar. The Browns will weigh practice work, game situations, and broader roster considerations before committing to the rookies. Gabriel was Cleveland's 3rd-round pick in April after a standout college career at Oregon, where he threw for 3,857 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions during an unbeaten regular season before the Ducks' playoff loss. The Browns' coaching staff clearly believes Gabriel has upside. Sunday's brief cameo served more as a reminder the organization is unafraid to give him game reps when necessary. Cleveland now faces a decision-heavy stretch. Flacco's veteran presence offers stability, but his recent play hasn't produced much offense, and the Browns sit 1-3. If the team's struggles continue, the pressure to hand Gabriel a longer audition or to turn to other options will grow louder. For now, Gabriel's late entry was a small but meaningful sign that the Browns are at least willing to explore alternatives as they look to right a sputtering offense.